跟住落嚟呢，我哋有請美國科羅拉多大學同埋中國同濟大學嘅講座教授李保文教授致辭。請李保文教授。
Actually, my Cantonese is even worse than Professor Shin, so I will use English to express my attitude. Okay, I'm actually I'm very honored to be invited to attend this ceremony. Actually, I'm only one actually of the student generation, because Professor Professor Yang, Professor Shin, and others are my highly respected scholars and professors. Actually, when I was a student, I already know Professor Yang and Professor Shin because we were in the physics. So actually, I knew Bambi in 1995 when I attended the Overseas Chinese Physics conference in Shantou. So at that time, I was thinking about moving back from Europe to China to do something. And Bambi mentioned to me that he would join Hong Kong BU to set a Center for Nonlinear Studies. So, and he asked me whether I would like to join him to do something for Hong Kong and for China. So, and I moved to Hong Kong BU in 1996. So, I mean, in the past 20 years, and then my career development proved that this is a right and important decision. So, I made a right decision. So, I'd like to thank Bambi. So during the 4 years in Hong Kong BU, I learned a lot actually from Bambi. So I think the first, of course, to do science, and then of course how to be a person. As many people mentioned, Bambi's personality has been highly actually respected by many generations. Not only his generation of scholars and the professors, and also the next generation of the young generation, and so on and so forth. Actually, last weekend, as Bilok mentioned, we had actually a very nice memorial symposium in Shanghai Tongji University. I mean, the reason to organize this event in Tongji University was that Bambi mentioned me many times because his mother was a graduate of Tongji Medical School. So, and then Bambi was dreamed of visiting Tongji campus, but unfortunately, I mean, in the last 2 years, his health was not able to do that. So this is why we actually organized this event in Tongji to somehow to realize Bambi's dream. So we were actually more or less 4 generations of physicists gathering together, and then you can actually see from actually the record, and also many people's record about Bambi's scholar and personality. Actually, Bambi has been really highly respected. So, and for myself, I remember one case during my study in Hong Kong BU. So you remember at that time when Professor was appointed the Hong Kong BU's president, there was a lot of noise in newspapers and so on and so forth. So it was actually, I really remember that it was on Bambi's article published in Minpao newspaper. So after that actually article, I remember the article is called "Let's Go Back to Classroom." Don't discuss all these irrelevant issues. So just focus on teaching and research. So from that article on, no more noise. So this is actually one aspect reflecting the Bambi's impact. I mean, Hong Kong, not only in physics, but also in social and other social societies. So many of you may not know that Hong Kong BU's Center for Nonlinear Studies, many people joking that who knows Hong Kong BU? We only know CNS, Center for Nonlinear Studies. So this somehow reflected Bambi's contribution to Hong Kong BU. So this center has actually attracted more than 200 scholars worldwide, of course many from mainland China, including many senior academicians of Chinese Academy of Science, and also young generation. And you can see now actually the young generation, like my generation, many of them already in very highly actually respected position. They now can do something to continue to promote this study of nonlinear science and others. So in the 4 years in Hong Kong BU, Bambi give us a very actually open mind attitude, and also give us a lot of freedom to do research. So he respected everyone, from very actually young student to very senior professors. This is how actually Bambi gained respect from many people around the world. I remember actually, that during that time, actually, this is how Professor Shen mentioned, we initiate some heat transfer in classical system. They were actually very simple Toya model. Actually, it's on the statistical mechanics problem because Bambi is a highly respected statistical physicist. So from that on, after I moved into Singapore, National University of Singapore, we actually continue to do that. Eventually, we somehow initiated a new field, Professor Shen mentioned, we call the phononics, which is a study of phonons in condensed matter physics. Of course, Professor Shen is a pioneer in this field. I was actually also somehow inspired by Professor Shen's work in many years back. This field is now very active, so this is why the people in that field is highly respect Bambi's very early contributions. So we have talked a lot in Shanghai. We hope the Hong Kong BU, because the Center for Nonlinear Studies more or less now in a kind of closing stage. So we hope many people propose that Hong Kong BU should reopen, not necessarily invested much money as what we did in 1990s, at least to sustain some research in nonlinear science to keep this actually tradition. Because Hong Kong BU is kind of a very important town for nonlinear science in Great China, including mainland China and Taiwan, Hong Kong, and also other Asia countries. So we hope maybe Professor Wong can set this feedback this to the current university administration to impose some actually funding to suspend to continue and sustain the research on nonlinear science. So and after moving to in US, in particular in the last 2 years, in 2012, 2013, I have also invited Bambi to visit in US. He spent very good time with my student and myself in 2012. But the last time in 2013, he felt this chronic fever. So at that time, he visited a doctor in Singapore and also later on in US and could not fight reason. So in the second time, we had a lunch or dinner together, and later on, and Betty joined him in Singapore. So he still have actually about 2 weeks. Because we appoint him as a distinguished visiting professor for 2 months per year. So in 2013, he only visited 1.5 months. So he still have 2 weeks to come to Singapore. And many colleagues in Singapore we're still waiting for Bambi to revisit in US because Bambi has a lot of actually friends and colleagues in US. But unfortunately, in 2013, so he became ill, so he could not visit Singapore again. And during his 2 visits in Singapore, he gave me a lot of actually advices how to actually handle the very difficult scenario in Shanghai. Because in 2012, I moved partially to Shanghai Tongji University as a national 1,000 talent program to set up a research center in Shanghai. So this center is expanding very much, but I must say that I benefit a lot from very frequent discussions with Bambi, and he taught me not only how to do research, but he taught me how to deal with a person. So I highly respect Bambi. I think in the past, several decades, Bambi was mainly focused on high education, research, and also education. I think this memorial lab will play a very important role to carry out Bambi's spirit in research and also as humanity. So I think the high school student, in particular, for my case, I think it's very important stage in the development of personality. So of course, develop the curiosity for science and many others. So I hope this memorial lab will continue to do what Bambi tried to do and to get actually the best. I know that Pei-Chen is well known. I knew a lot of actually famous alumni from your school, but I never come to this campus. It's really my pleasure to attend this ceremony and to come to Pei-Chen. and my best wish to this memorial lab. Thank you very much.
好，唔該晒李保文教授。